Hello, I'm Lori Tsugawa Whaley. I'm a third generation Japanese American baby boomer and a descendant of the samurai warrior. Thank you for this opportunity to share my experiences and my feelings about being an Asian American woman growing up post World War II. When I was 9, Joe Willis tripped me, punched me in the stomach, and said, "You're a fat, ugly Jap." After that, I wanted nothing to do with my heritage. I wanted to be just like the rest of my schoolmates without the black hair and the almond slanted eyes. But no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't change the way I looked, nor could I change being Japanese. So I spent many years disconnected to my Japanese heritage. In fact, in school, the only other Japanese were my cousins, and many of my classmates had never seen an Asian person. I was teased, bullied, constantly reminded that I was less than and I was different, and I faced racial prejudice. In fact, they even blamed me for the bombing of Pearl Harbor, which was quite a load for a young girl to be carrying. But my grandmother, on my mother's side, instilled in me some interest in Japanese and being Japanese. In fact, I think she tried to speak to me in Japanese, but I don't remember understanding her. It was more motions and facial expressions. It was how we communicated. When I was in college, I decided to take Japanese because I wanted to know what my parents were speaking behind our backs or so that we couldn't understand. We figured out that okane was money and baka meant not so smart, but a lot of other words we had no clue. But I wanted to crack that code. I studied Japanese, and that was just something put into me, just a little seed about my Japanese heritage. I didn't even travel to Japan until I was 28. My husband and I had the opportunity to go, met the rich cousins on my father's side of the family. They gave us the family history tree and a picture of our family crest. Domo arigato gozaimasu. Thank you very much. A few days later, we went to the Jidai Matsuri, the annual historical parade in Kyoto, with over 2,000 people dressed in period attire. It was fantastic. But for me, the highlight was a female samurai, Tomoe Gozen. She was so strong and regal, and her image left quite an impression on me. Then it was time to return home. We unpacked all of our memories and pretty much my Japanese heritage until 2007. I was rear ended the second time in 18 months. I was so messed up, I couldn't think straight. I had chronic fatigue, mental incapacity, and I was reading at a seventh grade level. Diagnosed with traumatic brain injury. In fact, mild traumatic brain injury, but there was nothing mild about this. My new job became appointments. In fact, I went to over 1,000 appointments in order to regain wellness. But I was determined because I did not want to be reading at a seventh grade level and have my husband take care of me for the rest of his life, without a way to spend his retirement. I set a goal to write a book. And so I did. I started researching on the internet and I found out about the samurai warrior and why were they so successful? Well, they lived by a code known as the Code of Bushido, the way of the warrior. The principles include courage, integrity, benevolence, respect, honesty, honor, and loyalty. They were so dedicated to this code that they were willing to pledge their sacred honor and their lives. They were without equal, and I admired them so much. I continued researching, and then on the web, I found this image, and it looked so familiar. And I saw, look, I told my husband, look, this is one of the 5 main samurai crests of feudal Japan. That means that the DNA of the samurai warrior is in me. So I knew that if that samurai spirit could motivate those warriors, it could motivate me. So with what little mental capacity I had, I continued to research. And as I continued, my vision got better, my mental clarity, my stamina, and I began to see light at the end of the tunnel. When that first shipment of books arrived at my doorstep, I thought, yes, that samurai warrior spirit is in me, the DNA. Now I share about the Code of Bushido to people up and down the West Coast about how this Code of Bushido can be their anchor in a sea of turmoil and their guide through the maze of life. The Code of Bushido can be your code for success. And in the book, I wrote about the Nisei, the second generation Japanese Americans, because they were honorable people who did no wrong, but yet, unfortunately, many of them were incarcerated in 10 camps throughout the United States. Both of my parents were in those camps, but they did not let that define them. Their goal was to become citizens, loyal, respectable, hardworking citizens. And there was also a group of men that volunteered out of the camps to prove their loyalty to the United States of America. They gave the ultimate sacrifice, some of them, with their lives. We owe them so much because they paved the way so that people like me, third generation Sansei, fourth generation Yonsei, and other Japanese people, and also people of other Asian ethnic backgrounds, could have better lives. And they did it without a lot of fanfare. They did it without rioting. They did it the legal way. And so I have a lot of respect for them. They were so well decorated that they earned over 18,000 medals just to prove their loyalty and to show Americans that they were honorable and loyal citizens. So it took courage to endure thousands of appointments in order to regain wellness. It took courage for the Nisei men and women who gave their lives and became excellent citizens. And even the Issei, most of them could not become citizens, nor could they be buried here in the United States or own land because they were not citizens. We owe them so much. And what I did is I took that pain and I turned it into gain. So if life throws you lemons, you make lemonade out of it to become better, not bitter. Not an easy task because it's not fair. It wasn't fair for people to show prejudice, discrimination, name calling. They faced a lot of hate crime, as well as other Asian and other minorities coming here to this country. So I'm no longer that hurt little girl wanting to be somebody else, but I'm so proud now to be Japanese American. And I'm the samurai woman that will help you face your battles. Never give up. Like the samurai, never give up and go for broke. Ganbatte kudasai. So are you ready to live a life that you were created to live? Don't let the negatives define who you are, because you're so much more than that. And you all have so much to offer the world. And unfortunately, not everyone in the world will see that, but there will be those that can recognize that. Because there's greatness in each one of you. Are you ready? Are you ready to live a life of honor? To be victorious in all the battles that you can face? So if you are, sharpen your swords and let the journey begin. Ganbatte kudasai.